Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your general messages for the first 2 weeks of June 2020. Hope you guys are doing great. Remember, these messages are general. Don't try to make it fit if it don't. The energies could always be vice versa. We're going to start off with a love reading, then go into career. I'm going to timestamp for career. If you're not interested in love, I totally get it. So we're just going to be dealing with the first half of June. This is going to be an energy read. I'm going to be doing a separate video at the end of the week for all of the astrology coming up for us in June. So definitely check that out. You know, and we're talking a lot of energies in June. June's going to be a pretty big month because we have these eclipses going on. So we have on June 5th, we're going to have the lunar eclipse. It's going to be hitting you guys in your first house. So you're going to be really asked to, there are going to be challenges having to do with compromise, the way you view certain things, right? And now whenever this is especially prevalent for those of you who are Sag risings, right? I mean, because when we do the eclipse predictions and all of those energies, it always goes according to our rising sign. And I'm going to mention why when I do the astrology video. It's a little too lengthy to get into an energy read, but you guys work with your ascending and descending with Gemini. So this is really going to be first 2 weeks of June. It's going to be a lot about self and relationships. You know, what you want for yourself, how you see yourself, how you look, exterior, you know, your outside. Compromising in relationships, right? Because Gemini's in that 7th house of relationships working there with you. So it's really going to be a lot of energy having to do with that. So again, yeah, for Sag Sun, but primarily for Sag Rising and Moon. That's why I always say it's very important to understand your placements. And I'm going to link a free birth chart calculator in the description. I've been doing that, and I think a lot of you have been thanking me for that. So no problem on my end, right? It's just good to know your placements, right? So let's get into this. Okay, relationships. What does Sagittarius need to know about relationships? Okay. It's all about you guys right now, Sagittarius, right? So I'm going to pull these for relationships. We'll see what we get. We'll see if we need any qualifiers. Maybe we'll pull some oracles. Definitely throw some astro dice to see what might be also impacting any relationships in your life. So when I say relationships, right, I meant, you know, you guys are going to be having on June 5th, starting June 5th, it's going to be lasting for about 3 months, by the way. You guys are going to have this eclipse in your first house of self. It's going to be working with Gemini in that 7th house of relationships. When I say relationships, though, guys, and I'm going to bring this up when I do the career section, it doesn't only mean marriage partners, because it really is like that level of relationship. It's also business partners, people who we have a shared purpose with. It really is kind of like our soulmate energy. Our soulmates are not only intimate relationships. They're people that we have a very definitive shared purpose with. Right? So the energy is going to be hanging out, dealing with those two houses a lot. So we have Jupiter, we have 5th house of fun, so I'm digging that. Very good, very nice. Okay, and we have Leo, which is the 5th house of fun. These are 3 fantabulous dice, I have to tell you. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it. The 5th house is our house of fun. It's naturally ruled by Leo. Leo's all about trying to have a good time. Like this is telling me it's like time to take a little break to just laugh. Okay? This is no time to be shy, right? Having this Leo energy here. It's time to shine your light, you know, in this area of your life, especially an area in your life that you're being most afraid to approach. So whether it's having to do with career, whether it's having to do with relationships, some sort of family situation. The reason I'm bringing up with relationship read is because I do get that these energies are going to be impacting relationships somehow. Yeah, and then we have the 5th house. Your creative energy is primed to be channeled into an activity that truly lights you up. You know, what do you like to do that carries the vibration of falling in love? That's what this is. And if you're thinking that you're not creative and you can't relate to the feeling of falling in love right now, you know, just imagine that most cynical part of yourself being asked out on a really cool date. Like, what do you want to do? You know, and the 5th house, guys, also rules having to do with relationship. It does rule love affairs, boyfriend-girlfriend connections, not so much the marriage level, boyfriend-girlfriend connection. What we do with the people we care about on a Sunday through Monday kind of thing, but for fun. but for fun, what we enjoy. It is also about sex, the act of sex, right? Not that deep soul shared connection. That's more of an 8th house energy. And then we have Jupiter hanging out in there. This is like popping. This is great. It's time to expand your mind. What's begging you to take a chance and what's making you feel stuck? This is really an energy that tells you have to go for it. You have to go for it in relationships. Have fun. Really lightening up the energy is going to work really, really well for you, Sag. And you guys are such, easygoing people. Typically, by nature, you are. Naturally, it depends on what else you have in your chart. But let's get into it. Coming into this, Ace of Cups is a new beginning here in a relationship. So I'm coming into this energy. So I'm feeling that either... so something is new. There is a newness coming into this energy. Maybe you just met somebody, maybe online, or if you're lucky enough to be out and about, perhaps not, but this does indicate, an emotional energy, definitely a new beginning here of some sort. So Ace, I do want to say, Ace can indicate, because this is a general message, so I want to say everything that it indicates. It indicates a new beginning in the area of love. So this can even be, if you've been in a relationship for a while, you guys, maybe you hit a really weird patch where things weren't so hot. And maybe you even separated for a while, right? It's going to be a different story for everyone, but this can indicate a reconnection where things are approached from a whole new level so that it is like a brand new beginning. Love this is the current energy foundation. We have the 3 of Cups, which is a very positive energy, and it is being crossed by the 7 of Swords in reverse, which I'm not mad at, and I'll tell you why in a sec. The 3 of Cups is, it's a Mercury and Cancer energy. So, Mercury is kind of ruling the day here. Very interested. Well, Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Cancer, but not yet, not within this energy just yet. But 3 of Cups is about celebrating. Mercury is all about communication, intellect, feeling. So it's about putting the thoughts into the emotions, the thought into that relationship, and really having a very celebratory vibe about it, feeling really good about something new. Now, what I think is interesting here is it's being crossed. That happiness, that happy joy is being crossed by the 7 of Swords in reverse. Now, I do want to just say something, that while we have this benefic energy from the dice, which is super positive, we have all of these things going on. What is a lunar eclipse, right? I mean, this is where we can see the seeds blossoming that we planted at that last solar eclipse. Okay, the solar eclipse. But if it's been like a stressful past 6 months, like if it's just been really, really stressful for you, this is a time to release. So a lot of you guys might be going through release, opening yourself up to something new. Okay, so I do want to give 2 interpretations because we need to be honest about what's going on here. Because this lunar energy is happening in you guys. You guys are a fire sign. So it really is going to be this kind of make or break time period in relationships where if your relationship is really solid, it's going to become even more solid. If you're really meant to be with that person, it's going to be very solidified in this energy. But if there's a weak foundation or things have been really strained, it's going to be time to release. So there is going to be a lot of swapping around of energies, and the 7 of Swords is a perfect energy in reverse to get with this. This is naturally the card of thievery, right? But because it's a moon in Aquarius, moon as I feel, Aquarius is different, right? Aquarius is out of the box. It's unique. It's different than what's being presented. So I often associate this very directly with somebody who's wearing a mask. And when we get it in reverse, I see that person's mask falling off. So I do see that there was this realization that somebody was not what they presented themselves to be, or you're realizing that you maybe haven't been the most authentic version of yourself. Could be vice versa, right? And it doesn't have to be in a way of malice. It could have been the situation where you started a new relationship and you wanted to present a certain version of yourself, not because you were looking to hide, but because you don't want to give away the whole bank in the first day, right? You don't want to give, you don't walk into a room in a new party and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, my favorite color is blue, and this is my address, right? You don't want to give everything away. So you might have been holding something back that ends up coming to light. And that is what happens very often with the lunar energies in this way, is whatever we've been holding back, First of all, you guys are going to be valued for any sort of natural fabulousness that you possess, right? But in the same way, anything that you might have been hiding is going to come to light. Now, that goes for you or for anybody else. So you might be recognizing this in somebody, that they're not exactly who they presented themselves to be. And that might end up being an issue, right? This may be part of the tension that you have to deal with in this energy. Now, we have as the crowning and as the foundation, we have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Temperance energy, though, in the foundation. So I am sensing a lot of compromise, which is going to be very necessary for you guys, having this energy in your first house of self. Guys, the Ten of Pentacles, Mercury and Virgo, there has to be a lot of communication about what really matters. And I get that that's not happening, whether it's because you're not being more forthcoming or you're not pushing an issue that has been very much troubling you regarding a relationship. Remember, though, in relationship readings, Pentacles can mean money, for sure. I mean, so maybe there was miscommunication having to do with money, some sort of money not coming in. Money is a thing. That could be for some of you. For others of you, it's feeling this lack of connection emotionally, physically, mentally, where maybe the communication is not flowing the way it needs to. The intimacy is not there in the way that you would like it to be. You guys are not doing things together and really bonding in the way that you would really like. And that's going to bother you at this time, Sag, because going to the dice are like unbelievably perfectly like, first of all, it's got Jupiter in there, which is your ruler. And that's all about, luck and expansion. Let's go. Let's have a good time in your house of fun with Leo, which is just about really wanting to let go and have fun and do different things, but do different things, right, in your relationship. And really looking at the value add that those things bring, right, to relationship. I like that we have Temperance in the foundation, because this is the card of compromise. It's what do you need? What do they need? What does the relationship need, right? And it's important to understand the trifecta there, because, well, you may need things, your partner may need things. You may think you know what your partner needs. Your partner may think that they know what you need. But we often make mistakes looking at relationship and needs through our own eyes instead of our partner's eyes, right? So that's where that third element comes in, like the relationship as its own entity. What's necessary to keep that really healthy? And I do like that we have that as the foundation, because that does indicate communication. Because I see things coming up. There are things coming up for you, Sag, that are going to have to be addressed. Right now, you're in this Five of Cups energy. You're going to be at least for the first 2 weeks of June. And this is going to be a hyper focus for you on the disappointment or the disillusionment of a situation, and really not being able to see past that. Let's just say that. Not being able to see past it. So you feel like maybe you're very, very deeply introspective. Of course, anytime we have any sort of eclipse in our first house, you can be very wrapped inside yourself, but you are, and don't be surprised if you find yourself, unlike normal Saggies, because you guys are so optimistic and easy-go-lucky, you may be very, very focused on the negativity of a situation, not because you're being a negative Nancy, but because it hurts, because it's pulling your heart down, because it's really tugging at your emotional space, right? Especially for those Sag risings. Now, the external energy to you, this is not you. External energy to you is Four of Pentacles in reverse. So this tells me that you're dealing with somebody in external energy that's very, very greedy. So this can be impacting the relationship. So this could be money not coming to you that you needed for the relationship. That could be, one interpretation of it. But I am getting very more specifically than that, is you dealing with an energy that's just very greedy, either with money or self, where they hold back, they don't communicate, they're not as giving as you would like. They're not as out there as you would like. When I say out there, meaning willing to have a good time, willing to have fun, willing to open up, willing to let themselves go. What's an interesting energy here, though, too, Sag, is that you're going to be pushed to do those things inside of your own self. So you're going to be pushed to really look at the aspects of yourself that maybe haven't been working in your favor, having to do with relationships, and you're very much going to be wanting your partner to do this as well, right? Because you guys do rule belief system, and you do believe that if it's possible for you to do some sort of self-analysis, it should be possible for everyone. And you're probably totally correct on that. But unfortunately, it depends on what your partner or the person that you're dealing with has in their chart and what kind of challenges they're having, right? But that is an external energy of greed. So that could be of, we could be greedy with ourselves, or greedy with money that would be deeply impacting the situation. Now, in your fear position, we have the Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups is a Gemini and Cancer energy, beautiful energy to get for June, right? Gemini is all about intellect. Cancer is I feel. It's that metaphorical, it is the house of home, but it's that metaphorical space of home, right? But this is in your fear position. So your fear is thinking about these emotions, thinking deeply about any areas of unhappiness and disappointment and disillusionment that you've identified in the relationship, because that's going to make you, it's going to really push you to act. It's going to push you to bring some sort of resolution. It's going to push you where you can't avoid the conversation anymore. You have to look at it for what it is, and it's not easy, particularly when we have the outcome energy being the Tower. Tower is all about illumination. So before you get scared and you're like, oh God, the Tower, because everybody looks at this and they want to run the other way. I've had so many people say, like, I shut the video off as soon as I see the Tower. And I implore you not to. This is really ultimately very positive. It's connected to Mars, which is linked to the Chariot energy, which is Cancer, which is that metaphorical home space. So what does all that mean? That means that whatever is illuminated as a result of all of this is very necessary to happen, because whatever path, whatever trajectory you were on in this relationship specifically was not meant for your highest good. It was not meant to continue in that way to bring you to where you need to be and where the relationship needs to be. So something comes to light, it's illuminated, and something is pulled down. Now, for some of you, this could be the ending of the relationship. For others of you, the illumination could be a way of thinking, particularly because you guys are Sagittarius, and particularly those especially rising. You guys are going to be having this hit very strongly in your first house of self, which is going to be have a lot. I mean, first house of self covers everything, including belief system, right? So something is going to become illuminated where it's not jiving with who you are anymore. You really need to look at that. And if it's illuminated, it needs to be changed, because if something's not really speaking to your truth, it's got to go. And then what happens here, though, is Mars, which rules Aries, pulls you very gently by the shoulders and like, come on, Sag, let's go this way. This is meant for your highest good. Do you know what I mean? Now, if it has to do with just a belief system, because it's illogical to say that everyone who's a Sag, especially rising, right, it's lesser degree sun and moon, is going to have their relationship end. That's ridiculous. But for a lot of you, it's going to be this absolute, no escaping illumination of a way of thinking that needs to be torn down and rebuilt with a new frame, a new perspective, and just a new set of values. And just a new understanding having to do with relationship very specifically. How have you been in relationship? What have you been allowing to happen, right? And really there's going to be this real shake up there. Now, in the near future, we have the Eight of Pentacles, okay? So the Eight of Pentacles is the Sun in Virgo. And this is about really building yourself, moving forward. Right? Again, building the connection. This is a relationship read, so I really do want to apply it as such with mental, physical, and emotional connection. So I will apply it to money, and as far as if money was an issue, I do see money becoming, that issue over time becoming rectified. 8, you haven't arrived yet, but you're going in a good direction. You're putting the work in. There can definitely be frustration having to do with money here because you don't have extra finances. If it is having to do with money, you don't have the extra finances to do like what you normally do, enjoying the normal luxuries that you would normally enjoy in, because you really have to keep things close to the chest right now, just because of the uncertainties of the world we're in right now. But if it has to do with mental, emotional, physical connection, this really has you guys pulling back and revisiting and saying, okay, really, what do we need to work on here? What needs to be fixed? We're not there right now, but this is like the work in progress energy, if that makes sense. And because of the, so a couple of points that I do want to make here is I do feel overwhelmingly the majority of you, rather than something totally ending, there's going to be an ending to a cycle. There's going to be an ending to a way of approaching the relationship. It must be that way. If you're in a situation where the foundation is not strong enough to withstand that, and the person that you're dealing with is not willing to work with you and willing to change, you are not going to end up with them. It's going to fall apart and you're going to start rebuilding yourself. For those of you that have a strong foundation and you know who you are, You know if you're with somebody who is equally committed and willing. We know these things, right? And we could try to play games with ourselves, but we know the reality if we're honest. And this is about you really sitting and being honest about this and letting something go that's not working, if that needs to be the case. But if it's your very strong foundation, and this is understanding that good communication needs to happen here. And I do recommend, because of the astro dice that we pulled for you guys, do it in a fun way. Do it in a fun way. Make a game out of it. Ask each other, 10 questions, 10 things that you don't know about each other. Random, little intimacy games like that is going to be very, very benefic for any relationships that's struggling right now, because I do see, if it's a strong foundation, you guys getting back on track. And it looks like the best approach is through having fun and connecting in the everyday, day-to-day things. Watching movies that you enjoy together, checking out videos and watching them together, just doing things that are super bonding together. Maybe different ways of sex need to be approached, right? Again, 5th house energy is more about the act of sex and less about that deep soul connection. That's more 8th house energy, right? Okay, guys, that is what I have for relationship. It does seem pretty straightforward. I do like it very much. Why don't we pull a couple of... just because it's all about Sag these days, we'll pull a couple of oracles and see what's happening for any extra messages. Okay, that wanted to come out. Healing. Romance. Yeah, what was I talking about? If you could do anything, what would it be? The answer dwells in your heart, not in your mind. For the heart is the gateway to the soul. Yeah, don't overthink. Don't overthink. And that's hard, because you guys ascending, descending with Gemini. Gemini is all about, I have to think about this. I have to figure this out, right? So really feel it. Romance, Cupid's arrow strikes. Very good. Healing. Imagine yourself and your beloved surrounded by light. Feel your relationship being healed this very moment. So for many of you, I do feel like that tower, that's got to come the hell down so that anew everything can be built. But, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but the stuff that hasn't been working, you need to redress those things. So beautiful stuff. Okay, my friends, let's go on to career. Let's crack in with career for our Sag friends. Oh, the world is a weird place, is it not right now? Having to do with, everything. But career, right? It's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. Not only my clients, my students, it's just unbelievable. I know more people who are, I've never known this amount of people in my entire life. And I've had a relatively long life at almost 53. I'm going to be 53 on June 6th, people. Happy Lunar. Happy Lunar Eclipse. This is going to be happening on the 5th into the 6th, depending on where you are in the world. But crazy stuff going on with careers. People transitioning like never before. Love it. I actually love it. I think it's so positive. The world's moving forward, man. It's all about Uranus. Uranus rules the future. Let's get it going on. See what's happening, Sagittarius. 7 of Swords in the foundation. Isn't that interesting? You guys got a crossing in the foundation for relationship. So we got this thievery energy, this feeling one way, doing something different. And the Tower. All right, Sag. Lots of changes happening for you guys in career. If you are resonating with this, there is no question. And a lot of you guys were like, Jackie, what about money? I'm like, all right, I'll include more stuff about money. Let's get through this first. Let's throw some astro dice to get some specific energies of advice that we need to. 4th house. 4th house opposes the 10th, my friends. So this is going to be a dynamic between your home and work, having to do with career. You might be working from home. Okay, we got Pisces, which is about, it's that 12th house, hidden enemies, house of self-undoing, but it's also dreams. It's also where our dreams hang out, what we fantasize about our life being, right? And we have Mercury. Oh my gosh. So I was going to tell you like straight out of the gate, because Mercury rules internet communication. It doesn't rule the technology. That's Uranus. So we have Mercury, which is all about communication, thinking, learning something new, learning new skill sets. This is that Mercury rules Gemini, which is, again, it's your opposing energy. It's you guys are ascendants and descendants from each other. So I like to call you guys across the street neighbors, right? You love to hate each other, right? But Gemini is really helping you out right now, Sagittarius, because you guys are in that South Node energy and the North Node is in Gemini. So Mercury is definitely going to be helping you out by learning new things, and you're going to be learning things that have been poking at you for a long time with that Pisces energy, something that you've been fantasizing about doing for a really long time. And then we have whatever is happening in career, it's going to be impacting your 4th house of home. But again, the 4th house and the 10th house are across the street neighbors as well. So what one does, it's going to impact the other as well. So whatever's going on in your career may be impacting your home, but it does also indicate to me the very high chance of you, if you've really wanted to work at home, you setting yourself up to work at home. All right, so we have the Emperor reverse energy. Some of you were dealing with a snake in the grass at work, okay, in the past. Emperor reverse is the narcissist energy, and it's so overused these days. So really, what does it mean more specifically is somebody who's just very self-centered, selfish, ego-driven. They deflect, they gaslight, they are just not a very solid energy. They can't be trusted. Remember, the Emperor upright is all about, is a very faithful energy. It's a very true blue energy. It's very in the lines, forward thinking, taking chances. So, and it's also in the upright, it indicates somebody who really wants to push forward on a new path. So for some of you, you may have been dealing with an energy at work that was not willing to take a chance, that was just very worried about self, not capable of looking outside their own immediate needs to see the reality fully of a situation, and not working well for you, not good for you, Sag. It really wasn't. All right, that energy doesn't jive with you anyway, because you guys, you rule belief systems, and you guys rule religion, and it doesn't have to be that organized dogma, but belief system and faith, and what's right, what's the right thing to do. You guys are all about that, and this person was not driving with you. So we have the 7 of Swords energy as a foundation for career. And then we have the Tower. All right, so let's talk about this for a minute. So this could be because somebody gave you somebody's mask. You realize, even if their mask didn't fall off, because I don't feel like their mask fell off, but I feel like you guys are very intuitive to the reality of somebody here. You're vibing this Emperor reverse energy, and you're seeing a situation for what it really is. Okay, that it's not what you initially thought it was, and whatever that means. That could have to do with a person. If it represents a person, this could also represent a situation, a general energy of just not being what you thought it was, and it ending. Okay, so maybe somebody who you thought would have your back ended up not having your back. Somebody's true colors showed, whatever it was. Yeah. Okay. Now, for some of you, I do see you guys acting as if, kind of like trying to play somebody at their own game to protect yourself, not because there's any malice involved in it, but you recognizing that you were dealing with an unscrupulous kind of energy, right? This real kind of challenging energy, and you were like, oh, you know what, the best way to deal with this individual is to play them at their own game, right? But regardless, what's crossing this is the ending of something came to light. Tower's illumination. Remember, it's illumination. It is a Mars energy. Mars is about shaking it up. It's the warrior planet, right? It's creating change. It's a link to the Chariot. The Chariot is all about pulling you away from toxicity towards a path that is more meant for you. Now we have as the crowning and as the foundation. Interesting that we have the faith. I didn't even notice that until now, because that's you guys. So we have the 2 of Cups in reverse. So when it comes to career read, this is still Venus in Cancer, and Venus is one of the money planets. It's also where our self-esteem hangs out. It's not only about love, and Cancer is about safety and home. And we have this association to home, right, with the Astro dice here. So I am getting here that there's some sort of, you're feeling unsafe in your career, and that it's impacting your home. It's making you feel fundamentally nervous, all right? Because the money is not, you're worried anyway, right? That is the crowning energy here. You're concerned about money and how it's going to impact your home and your family, right? Obviously, I mean, I understand, right? I mean, that's just a challenge here, but the foundation, beautiful, is the faith card, right? This is the Hierophant energy. So this really is you guys. It's about having faith and moving forward with integrity and really focusing on that. Now, from a those of you who follow numerology, this is associated to Taurus, and Taurus is a very earthy energy. It's a pentacle energy, so it indicates money, and it's also ruled by Venus as well, which is about that self-esteem and the money, one of the money planets. So this is telling me, like, have faith that whatever you're moving away from, understand that it's toxic, and that you're going to move towards something that is way more in alignment with what it is that you need. Right now, you're in the Six of Cups reverse energy, though, so deep nostalgia for the past, but this is the thing. Whatever you're thinking back to, leave it in the past. Seriously. It's not part of your truth, and it doesn't belong on your path anymore. So whether this is the job ending and you reminiscing and reflecting on, because what happens with the Six of Cups energy is you put, life energy, the universe puts rose-colored glasses on you temporarily. So you don't remember things as accurately and for the negative aspects, remembering why it's in your past or why you never brought that idea to a culminating situation. You know what I mean? Like maybe you had an idea for a business once upon a time. You're like, oh, you know what? Let me go back to that. I remember that. And you glorifying it in the rearview mirror saying, yeah, why didn't I do that? Be very careful here, particularly because of all the retrogrades we have going on. Just be really careful. But I do feel that this is an energy that you're going to be kind of dealing with right now, is this reminiscing, this deep reminiscing, but it's not going to be helpful for you. It's really, really not. Looking back is not going to be helpful. If you look back, you can't, I always say, my grandma Evelyn always used to say, if you keep looking behind you, honey, you're going to be a shorter trip if you're trying to move forward, right? So it is kind of like that energy. Yeah, so then we have the Seven of Cups as an external energy to you. Seven of Cups is about choices, Venus and Scorpio. Now, this is the thing. The external energy to you, there are going to be energies that are external to you that are available to you that are going to be super confusing. I'm not saying that they're bad, but they're going to be confusing. There's going to be a lack of clarity here, and you want to be careful there's change happening here. Sagittarius is no question. Venus and Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. That's an ending and a beginning all at the same time. But you're going to be faced with this. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? And the thing is, you want to make sure that you're not seeing any very overt red flags. You want to make sure that you're not, again, looking at something through rose-colored glasses. I mean, that's what both of these energies indicate, There are a few cards in the deck that do indicate that very heavily. Hangman reverse is another one, so you got 2 out of the 3 of them here. So just make sure that if you're reflecting on the way something used to be, or if you're thinking about going back to something, or you're thinking about reviving an idea that you had at one point in the way that it was, be very, very careful. You can actually revise. This is actually a really good energy to revise an idea that you had once upon a time, but in a different way, from a different angle, a different mindset, a different perspective. So your fear is the Two of Wands, that you're not going to have this new path offered to you, Mars and Aries. So you're afraid that you're not going to have this new offer that is going to end up pulling you onto this new path, that the options aren't going to really be there at the end of the day, having to do with follow through. I like that we have Judgment. Super healthy energy, because this is about forgiveness, and this is about you knowing. This is about forgiveness through change. So Judgment is a Pluto energy, and Pluto is all about change. It's about an ending with a simultaneous new beginning. But you looking back, what I like about this for you is you looking at the situation in your career and saying, you know what? I did the best I could. I know I did. I know I was a good worker. I know I did the very best I could, and feeling really confident in that. And that is so powerful, because that is necessary in order to move forward. So I like this as the outcome energy, because it does indicate to me that you're going to be releasing whatever you're initially going to be feeling at the beginning of June, you may even be feeling it now, where you're very reflective of something that was in your career, and you're just going to be saying, you know what, it didn't work out. I did the best I could. There was nothing I could do about it, you know? And it's like this level of acceptance. And then in the near future card, in near future energy, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. So this is about you taking a rest, not making any decisions, not moving forward, and just thinking for a minute, which I think is a really, really good idea. This is a Jupiter and Libra energy, right? So Libra, you know, is about fairness. Glyph is the scales, ruled by Venus, another money energy. You know, also rules our self-esteem, right? Jupiter, you know, is your ruler, right? It's about luck and expansion. So it's you taking a minute and trying to figure all that out. How do I feel about going in this direction? What do I need to do to make the best money? What path am I going to take that's going to bring me the luck and expansion that I want? And it's allowing yourself to take a minute to do it. And it's not making a decision. And this is one energy where I feel like indecision is actually your friend. I actually feel like a little indecision is actually your friend, guys, for this first 2 weeks. Because then we're going to be going on the 21st. We're going to be going into the solar eclipse, right? So, you know, let's keep that in mind. I wanted to pull a, oh, here they are. I'm hiding my cards from myself. I wanted to pull a final card of advice for you guys. Let's just see what comes out for you guys. What is already with you? Beautiful. Look at the butterflies. What is already with you? So this is really you getting in touch with yourself, right? Having to do with your career. Getting in touch with yourself and really acknowledging the natural skill set that you already possess and building on that. Rather than looking so outside of yourself, this is calling for you to look inside of yourself and really work with your Gemini energy, right? That's going to be happening in that 7th house. You know, so your relationships are going to be... So this could indicate like new business partnerships, new connections, right? In areas that speak to your core, in areas that you know speak to your natural skill set. Rather than trying to, I don't know, like let's just say, you know, if you have a lot of Aquarius energy in you, you're not going to want to do like a Capricorn job, right? Something, because Aquarius is all about doing something unique, different, out of the box, not keeping a regular schedule. And then Capricorn's about, you know, being very structured and very organized, right? So, you know, you don't want to do something just for the money. You really want to be true to yourself. So the key here with this Four of Swords energy is as you're taking this little reprieve here and lining your ducks up in a row, which you should be doing right now, it should be all about tapping into what is real to your integrity and focusing on that and studying that and learning, because there's a lot of learning that's going to be going on for you. So I do like that. Yeah, Sag, that is what I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful for the first 2 weeks of June 2020. I will see you guys at the end of the week where I'm going to do an astrology only energy read for June, and I also have coming up the Black Moon Lilith in everybody's chart, and we're going to talk about that. So I'll see you guys then. Until then, you guys take care. Bye bye.